Mark your calendars. This Sunday night, June 6th, tickets are going fast for 3 beach music legends performing on stage here at the Palace Theater in Myrtle Beach. Meet the co-MC coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at the Palace Theater in Myrtle Beach. We're focused on this Sunday night's 3 Beach Music Legends concert to be held here at 5:30. And we're visiting with Harry Turner, the president of Beach Music Association International. Good morning, Harry.
How are you? Good to be with you again.
How about it? And at the Palace Theater.
Isn't it beautiful?
This place is incredible. The lobby is
right under a rotunda.
We truly are.
Yeah,
I'm sorry the viewers can't see that.
No,
This place.
no.
Of course, the steps here and the entire 2,700 seat setup for this Sunday night's performance. You couldn't think of a better place.
It's truly a masterpiece theater, to coin a term. Yeah,
it is.
It really is.
It was so great to be with Julia Mage yesterday, their executive director, and to have Maurice with us on Monday and Tuesday, and of course Billy Scott, one of the Beach Music Legends, coming in tomorrow.
Right.
It's so exciting to think, and the Embers will be here on Sunday night, one of the greatest performers, not only in the Carolinas, but in the country.
That's right.
To see them perform has been a treat.
Well, all three are so popular, so talented. It's just going to be a show for the ages, and don't forget, we also have the Rat Pack making a special appearance at the show. So it's just going to be a real special night for a whole lot of people.
That's right. The finale will have Sammy Davis Jr., obviously Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin performing. And then now I understand the 3 Beach Music Legends are going to come in to sing a song during the Rat Pack's kickoff at 7:30.
That's right. Well, the way it's going to work, we'll end the show with the 3 legends singing a song, and then the Rat Pack coming out, and they'll do a song, and then end up performing all together.
Wow!
To close out the show, then the legends join at the show afterwards, the Rat Pack show, and they'll sing a song with them. So it's and the 2 musics have a lot in common if you get right down to it. The residuals of the big band era, which was Sinatra, Martin, and Sammy Davis, and the original rhythm and blues, which kind of evolved into what we call beach music.
Right. Yeah. That alone, those 6 guys, 6 folks on stage, or 6 groups on stage, 6 acts. Thank you, performing should be incentive to get anyone down here for this performance this Sunday night. And the fact of a 5:30 show where folks can go to dinner afterwards or go to a party afterwards and then out to a late dinner is a perfect setting.
Be over at 7 o'clock.
At 7, okay.
At 7, 5:30 until 7, yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Have you, now, for performances here at the Palace here, I know you've been to a lot of shows here. Have you seen a performance like this or a group getting together?
No, there have been some oldies and Motown type acts, but as far as what we would call a truly beach music related show, this probably, I can't say for sure, this probably is the first time there was a Little Richard show with him as the main headliner, I think with a couple of beach acts, but it was, I think, more a Little Richard show with other people, and it was also an awards show. But as far as just a pure beach/oldies type show, this is probably the first one.
And one of the more exciting aspects is recognizing the net proceeds are to be split evenly between Habitat for Humanity and, of course, the Beach Music Association International. And I think there's an idea in there to possibly have some of the Beach Music Legends together to help, even with Habitat for Humanity, building a home.
Yeah, that's certainly in the works, and we, as president of the association, we're just thrilled that we're going to be parts of getting those proceeds along with Habitat for Humanity, and we have a lot of things a lot of needs, so it's really going to help tremendously with what we're about.
Harry, real quick, for viewers who may not have seen you when you were with us last year, obviously promoting a similar event over at Myrtle Beach High School with the Long Bay Symphony, when some beach music legends were together, as well as a number of times you've been with us. A little bit about yourself. Are you originally from the area?
No, I'm from Greenville, South Carolina. Originally. I've been here about 3-4 years. I promote for a lot of companies. I have a public relations company. A lot of them are beach and oldies type acts. I do some non-music companies as well, but this has just been a good place to come to and headquarter, as you well know.
Oh, very definitely, absolutely. What about your first introduction to beach music or music in general?
Well, it was growing up. I was born in 1942. Thus, in the late 40s, when I was old enough to be cognizant of music, we had a maid that was into black spiritual music, and would have the radio on, and they sprouted up some specialty shows that would be on the same station she would listen to, featuring, aimed at a black audience, featuring this early rhythm and blues music. And that was my first exposure. And of course, I was fortunate to have grown up at the time that it then became so popular among young white kids as well. It was a totally unexpected phenomenon. It was supposed to reach a black audience, but little did the world know how much young white kids would fall in love with this music. And that, of course, being rhythm and blues, was the formative stages of what later became rock and roll. Rock and roll, supposedly, the term was coined by Alan Freed, a disc jockey in New York, and a very popular disc jockey. But it mainly came about after white artists started performing rhythm and blues music. And in certain ways, rock and roll became a white-black mix. Rhythm and blues stayed mainly a black music with just a very few white artists that had that real soulful feel. And that's how it evolved. And of course, in the South, I think we took that music to heart, especially the original side of it, the rhythm and blues side, like maybe no other part of the country, and certainly the Carolinas, through beach music, which is basically rhythm and blues based, have just adopted it as our own, if you want to say it that way.
And when a viewer hears the word beach music, they think about it almost exclusively related to the Carolinas. I guess it's much more than that.
It really is. It contains much nationally known music. Now, there are a lot of regional acts that didn't have national hits. Billy Scott, of course, is one, and the Embers. But they have just superstars in the Carolinas with regards to beach music itself. Yeah, there is a misnomer of sorts. Beach refers to right here at Myrtle Beach, and part of the reason that happened was that you could always hear this rhythm and blues music in the 50s and 60s on jukeboxes at Myrtle Beach. And a lot of radio stations throughout the Carolinas did not play this kind of music. Therefore, we white kids who were starved for it, we knew this was a place we could always hear it. Plus, in the 60s, there was a place called the Beach Club that brought in these rhythm and blues artists during the 60s. Therefore, it was also a place where you could come, especially in the summertime, and see these favorite artists. And it just basically evolved. I like to explain it this way. Beach music basically is rhythm and blues that you could hear at the beach. That kind of evolved from rhythm and blues you could hear at the beach to beach music. And that's the simplest way I can explain it. Yeah.
And when a viewer thinks, would beach music be the same as shag music, or would that be clearly different?
No, it is different. It started out where not all beach music could be shagged to. In fact, maybe even most of it can't be shagged to. It's basically rhythm and blues. Shag has it's a medium shuffle beat, 120 beats a minute, kind of a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 rock back step. But what's happened as the shag has evolved, the shag purists will shag to any kind of music as long as it has that beat, and the DJs will play any kind of music. In other words, you're now shagging the country to even rock and Latin, and maybe even some rap stuff and disco, all of which are not really what beach music was. So there's a separation of sorts, but certainly the shag being the most popular of the dances that beach music people who mainly grew up in the 50s and 60s danced to, it's not totally synonymous, but there will always be a strong relationship between the shag and beach music.
Vital. Absolutely. Now, a lot of this, Harry, you've laid out in your piece, This Magic Moment. Reflections of a generation.
Exactly.
Could you give the viewers a little sense of how you conducted research for that book and when it came out and what's been done with it?
A lot. It came out about 10 years ago. In fact, I'm in the process of updating, because a lot of things have happened in that 10 years. But believe it or not, most of it was stuff that I just absorbed throughout the years. I went on the radio back in 1976. I was at one time syndicated, throughout the Southeast on about 40 stations. And you know, by doing that, I would interview artists. I got to know a lot of them very well, became not just acquaintances, but good friends with them. And they would tell their stories. You know, I'd learn that way. And yes, I did do some research, especially with regard to chart histories and those kinds of things.
Right, right.
But even some of that I knew, but I wanted to certainly verify what was going to be put in the book. And you know, you'd be surprised. A lot of DJs use that book for some of their historical facts.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
You know, and,
I'm sure.
And the book is sold throughout the world. We sold quite a few copies just recently in England because there was a magazine article in a music magazine called Now Dig This. It was a two-issue feature about the book. And the response has been tremendous, thus proving, may I add, the worldwide knowledge about this music.
Right, right. That's a great point.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, if a viewer was interested in getting a copy of the book, are there some locations locally selling it? Could they go online somewhere or just give you a call?
Well, Amazon.com, or they can dial 843-280-4809.
Okay, fantastic. To find out some locations near them. What do you think it is about the music industry, or particularly the performance of performers like Billy Scott, Maurice Williams, the Embers, that continue to get the generations, all ages, interested in this?
It's because the music's real. Now, you can't understand the words. Can understand, not can't understand. It's so infectious and so much fun. I was watching a shag contest warm-up one day, and there were older couples and younger couples. Now, nowadays they have what they call the smoothies shag, which basically almost is big band stuff, laid back stuff.
Right.
And a smoothie song would be put on, and the floor would fill up with people 50 and over. But then they would play something like Drip Drop by the Drifters, which was recorded in the 50s, and guess what? The young people of today would jump on the floor to it. The point is, it has such an infectious nature about it that even young people love this music. If you go to a festival that features beach music, say a city festival, which you have all over the country, and a beach music band is playing, if you'll look, the young people will almost always flock to the front and just love the music. And yet, because it's not programmed nationwide through a radio format, they're really not that familiar with what it is until they hear it. You know, young people like to be with what's happening today, but even with that, when you get it in front of them, it's just so infectious, they love it.
Now, is it that infectious nature that's kept you so involved in the music industry this long?
That's what got me involved in the first place.
Right.
And you know, and there's another thing to it. This music had, even in the days of segregation, the ability to bring people together like no other music. I'll never forget. The Greenville Memorial Auditorium is where I saw a lot of the acts back in the 50s and 60s. About 5 years ago, I ran into a policeman who said that he was security at the auditorium for all the shows, and I started asking him, you know, but what were his favorite shows? He said, oh, those oldie shows that people like Fats Domino said, those are far and away my favorite shows. Wow. And he said, because the music was just so much fun. I said, well, let me ask you that. He said, and you know, I've done all kind of music, and I've had to break up fights and you know, and all these kind of things. I said, well, you know, with these shows having blacks and whites, in those days were there a lot of fights? He says, almost never. He said it was no. He said the blacks and whites would get together, and it was fun. It was camaraderie. It was whatever. Well, that's same thing still happens today, but not only with black and whites, but with old, young, many other diverse groups. It's a one uniting up factor, and that's very important.
And is it that same aspect, Harry, that has motivated you to continue to work so hard to preserve this music for generations to come?
Absolutely. It's more than just the music. It is the message, and that's what the message is. That's what part of the message through our association is. Let me just give you a quick story. Cuba Gooding Jr., the famous actor, his father is Cuba Gooding, who was the lead singer of the Main Ingredient on I Just Don't Want to Be Lonely and Everybody Plays the Fool. Well, he came down to our annual Beach Music Day, which takes place on the steps of the Capitol. Our association puts it on every year, South Carolina State Capitol steps, and was just blown away. But of course, he's in this kind of music anyway. But what blew him away was, again, this camaraderie, and so he has called me about 4 or 5 times since. He's read my book, And he said, Harry, I'm getting my son and some other actors involved. This music is the music that needs to be taken to young people. He said, I'm making this my personal project. I want you and the association, what have you, to work with me. And he mentioned that his son, that a lot of the actors and stuff are concerned about the type of music that too many kids are hearing.
Right.
And his comment was, now whether it happens, who knows, but he said that he wants his son has mentioned he wants to get Tom Cruise involved, Denzel Washington, Robert De Niro, and Wesley Snipes. That's just 5 names right there. And if Cuba, and by the way, it looks just like his son. It's unbelievable.
Really?
It looks very young. It's But if some of this momentum can really get started, I mean, there is no stopping what this music can do. And basically speaking, we in the Carolinas, with this great music, have the answer to what can get kids back to something that's just kind of good, clean fun, but not dull or not square. You see, but it just the medium has not been there to get it to them, and that's what Cuba hopefully is going to set in motion.
Right. Harry, obviously, we got about 10 minutes, and we truly want to focus on this Sunday night's performance.
Talk too much.
The 3 beach music legends. No, but I want to hear real quick about Beach Music Association International, the founding of that, and a little bit about the history there.
It was founded about 3 years ago. It was kind of the brainchild of Billy Scott, Hilda Carter, who you know well, and myself. And then we started banding about with some other people, and that's a great idea. And we had an organization meeting along with Representative Bubba Snow, who I guess would be the 4th cog in that founding wheel. We had it at his office in Columbia, at the State House office there, and people started wanting to be involved. It's taken off, and it's going great guns. It's growing left and right. And see, we're not just a fun organization. Yes, this music is fun, but we're about serious stuff too. The biggest point of pride thus far is that we have been a part in getting a bill passed in the state of South Carolina to make it illegal for bogus groups or bogus acts to pass themselves off as the legitimate thing.
Right. Yes.
And South Carolina, as you know, tends to trail the nation in a lot of things, but this is one bill that we lead the nation in. And we got the Recording Industry Association of America to back us and partner with us in trying to get the word out. And the beauty of it is the state of Pennsylvania, a senator has called us. He wants to do the same thing in Pennsylvania, wants our help with that, and it looks like we in South Carolina may have started a domino effect of eliminating, because it hasn't been done nationally, of eliminating these bogus groups, not just of beach music and oldies, but of any kind of music.
I'm so glad you mentioned the 4 folks who were founding members there, and so many others. How many folks are currently on the board?
We have 17 members.
17. And you all meet on a regular basis?
We meet once a quarter. Our executive board consists of 7 of those 17, and we meet pretty close to once a month, except maybe during the summer months or during the holiday season.
We think about those aspects, of course, of groups getting together. And, on a regular basis, you all said you all have an annual concert held on the steps of the Capitol. You've had some incredible performers there.
We really have. We've had James Brown. We've had Sonny Turner, the Platters. We've had Letterman. We've had, of course, Maurice. I'm giving ones that have national names. The Tams. Let's see. Clifford Curry, just a bunch of very well-known people, and you talk about a labor of love, and you talk about bringing people together. Well, that's what this concert does. There are no Republicans and Democrats that day, no black, white, no male, female, no upstate, low state. I mean, everybody is into this music. We were there on the State House grounds 2 days ago, Billy and I, and one of our other board members, Dave Freeman. And this big SUV comes driving up, and it's got South Carolina license plate number 9 on it. And he rolls down his window. He says, Harry, he says, beach music forever. Well, it was the Commissioner of Agriculture, Charlie Sharp.
Oh, great.
But that's the infectious nature. I was told by somebody in Tennessee that knows what's happening with beach music that's been there, said that the relationship between the Tennessee legislature and country music is not as strong and full of love as a relationship between South Carolina government and legislature and beach music. Yeah, it's tremendous.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Well, the excitement, obviously, of a group like that and working in tandem with Habitat for Humanity locally to be the recipients of the net proceeds of the event this Sunday night, and of course to be here at the Palace Theater, as we talked about earlier.
And I do want to say how much that I respect Habitat for Humanity and what they're all about. And And certainly, if somebody, just say can't come or something, and maybe a corporation wants to give some of the employees some tickets or something,
right?
Certainly the proceeds are going to, and we think our thing is good, but the Habitat for Humanity is one of the truly great charities out there.
Very definitely, very definitely. Share with the viewers, Harry, about the idea behind what came up with having the three beach music legends, the Embers, Maurice Williams and Billy Scott, performing this Sunday night.
Well, the idea is one person. She's a dear friend of both of us, Hilda Carter.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Hilda, we had a similar concert last year, as you mentioned earlier. And, Hilda had a dream. I'll never forget. She called me the next morning, Harry, I had a dream. What do you think about it? Can you help me with it?
Yeah.
And it really, since then, of course, Billy has gotten involved, in promoting it as well as performing.
Sure.
Her dear friend, B.J. Thomas, has really taken the ball, because Hilda can't go like she could at one time, so we've had to do some things for her, but
sure.
She has a great love for this music, for these artists, and she wants to get them more exposure at better places and that kind of thing, and it's just been a dream of hers, and certainly Hilda is the main person.
Hilda's doing it all gratis, obviously, and she's very interested both in Habitat as well as Beach Music Association.
And she's on our board as well.
Sure, of course. She's one of those 4 or 5 founding members. Think about share with viewers a little bit about why they need to be here. Why would someone want to come in from Hartsville or Laurinburg or Marion or as well here at the beach for this Sunday night's performance?
Or as I already hear from other parts of the country. Well, first of all, this music is universal. Granted, the Embers and Billy are more regionally known, but the music is so infectious. I mean, and I love beach music by the Embers, even though it is a Carolina thing. It's been nationally played in commercials for Budweiser, so it's very recognizable. And of course, Maurice Williams, "Stay" is one of the biggest songs in the history of the world. It was #1 record all across the world in 1960. Then it was incorporated into the soundtrack of Dirty Dancing, which is the first or second biggest selling soundtrack of all time in Hollywood.
That's right.
So that song is just universal. "Little Darling," which he wrote and did the original version of and was covered by the Diamonds, became a monster hit in the 1950s. Those songs are so recognizable that seeing and hearing Maurice sing those songs will appeal to people all across the world.
Right.
Those songs are constantly in commercials and movie soundtracks. I mean, you name it.
Oh, yeah.
They're just so identifiable. And the other reason is the acts are so darn good. A lot of acts today, it's more glitz and glamour and smoke and fire and lights. No, these acts, it's about talent. It's about caring about the audience. It's about giving their all. Be it 1 or 100,000 people, these type of performers give everything they have, and that's what you'll see Sunday night.
And Billy Scott, of course.
Of course, when I say them, I mean all the acts.
Sure.
Yes.
All three of the groups, all three of the acts, and their performance level, as Maurice talked about on Monday and Tuesday, whether he's in a crowd of 5 or serving a crowd of 5,000.
Yeah,
he is always at his aim.
As are the Embers, and as is Billy. They're always. It's a mindset of people that are into this kind of music. Just the way it is.
We got 3 minutes, Harry. How will you be involved in this Sunday night's performance?
Well, of course, I'm helping as I'm here. I do travel a lot, but I'm here certainly from now until Sunday to help promote it as best I can.
Right.
But I'm also the co-MC along with the aforementioned B.J. Thomas.
Oh, great. Okay.
And we'll keep the show pretty much on track and inform the people what it's about without talking them to death, shall we say.
Without giving too much of the surprises of the event, can you give a little feel as to what the hour and a half will entail for a viewer to be traveling in?
Well, it basically will be each act will do 5, 6, 7 songs, depending upon you make the time thing. That'll be determined probably at rehearsal as they time out what's happening, and then of course there'll be an intermission, and we don't know how to be totally divided up. That'll be determined again by the length, but there'll be like a 15-minute intermission. Then after the last act performs, we will bring all 3 back on stage for a finale and the Rat Pack out to sing a song, and then the grand finale with the Rat Pack and the 3 beach music legend artists.
Fantastic. Yeah. One last thing we didn't talk about, Harry, was your involvement in this class you've been teaching out at Coastal Carolina University.
Well,
and what kicked that off? And obviously you all recognized Ron Engel, the president of Coastal, with the Carol Campbell Award this year.
That's exactly right. Kudos to Ron Engel, because Dr. Engel, he is a lover of this music, but he also is a serious student of the music. And he has pledged, and this is part of what's out of the pledge, to be affiliated with our Beach Music Association International to become the academic center for beach music. And we awarded him on the State House steps at our last Beach Music Day in Columbia the Carol Campbell Award. That award annually is to a person that's not in the industry who we feel has done the most for beach music. Carol Campbell got the first one, Bubba Snow the second, and the third was Dr. Ron Engel. A result of that is that I'm teaching a course on the history of we call it really history of rock and roll and beach music. And the response has been really good. The people are fascinated by how this stuff comes about, and I do both video and audio demonstrations of what it's all about, and have people come in as guests to talk. And his commitment is to make this just a major thing as it grows. We're in the beginning stages now, but it's going to grow. Believe me.
Coastal's committed a lot, and they're very interested in taking it forward.
They really have, and we just couldn't be happier about our affiliation with. And I tell you, what a great university. I'm so impressed with the people there and the growth. I mean, this is a major university in its formative stages. I'm telling you. I mean, they're going to be on a par with many of the best known universities in this country. Shortly.
Harry, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Hey, listen, the pleasure is mine, buddy.
Fantastic. Stay tuned to more Carolina People with Harry Turner coming up next. Whether you were a listener in one of the 40 radio stations that Harry's show was syndicated on for so many years, or you're a student of his at Coastal Carolina University, or you've seen him as an MC of so many amazing performances around the Southeast, you can catch him co-MCing this Sunday night's 3 Beach Music Legends concert here at the Palace at 5:30. It's a treat, and Harry will put on a performance like no one else.